Top of the world to you today. We are beyond excited because, pardon?
Super pumped.
Oh, super pumped. I'm sitting right beside her and I cannot hear. So I don't know if that's my age or what it is, but you are going to love today's program because it's with an incredible guest that we're going to be introducing shortly. And an incredible, you know how there's just some things in life, the tangible piece, when you touch it, there's meaning to it, just kind of like we do with horses every single day.
Yeah.
This book, and I love books, not from the computer, not from I don't even know what they're called, from your e-readers. iPads or e-readers. This where you touch it and you can't wait to pick up the next chapter, the next line, or the next paragraph. So it's so exciting. So you're going to hear all about it today.
Good. I do see someone on, so that's good. I was like, are we not? Is this not
good
working?
You're testing.
Yeah, I got scared for a quick second. Okay, so before we get to our fantastic speaker today, we're going to go through our regular old rigmarole about how this is going to run. So this first one is the hashtag Holy Jumpin' Tuna Fish. This, of course, is the beautiful Carrieism that really means if something knocks your socks off, if it blows your mind, if you're like, wow, I want to hear more about that, that's the time to throw in hashtag Holy Jumpin' Tuna Fish, or just even the little tuna fishies, because they also amuse us. Then we know what you're like at the emojis. You're right. Good job.
Thank you.
This second hashtag we always like to talk to you guys about is that hashtag of We Are Life Changers. And that, of course, is not just us, but every single one of you out there. I love having my interpreter. You're going to have to learn actual sign language.
I really am. Yeah. Okay, well, that's from Miranda. We'll have to talk to her.
Yeah. So it really is, all of us have the opportunity in this world to change somebody's life for the better every single day that we live and breathe. And it really does always boil down to that good old thing called kindness. Yep. So always keep that in mind, because we have the opportunity to change life every single day. Heidi, good to see you on, my dear. She says, hi, ladies. And then, of course, share this out. Why? Because sharing is, in fact,
it's actually caring.
It's caring.
First time I said it quickly.
She did. She's wanted to make this roll. But we want to share this out too, because this is a phenomenal book, A. And B, we want more people to know about this kind of stuff, to feel the feels, to all the good things.
Yes. That's exactly it. We need to feel good in life, man.
Or
woman.
Peeps.
Human
beings. Okay. And of course, who is it that you are listening to right now? My name is Carolyn Charles. I'm Director of Sales and Marketing, as well as an instructor and facilitator for the Equine Connection, the Academy of Equine Assisted Learning, Inc.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Fulmick. I am the founder of the Equine Connection, globally helping people around the world do what it is that we do. And that's certifying humans in a job that is, I don't know, the most purposeful thing on earth, making a living. But we do it all with working with horses. We literally allow the horse to be a teacher to these outrageous, objectively driven programs that get your clients results every single time they go through a program. Why? Because the programs are designed to have predictable outcomes, but it's because of the horses. And when you understand their culture, their language, the welfare of them comes first. It's the most magical thing you will ever experience. It's just beautiful.
True that. And of course, just before we continue on, if you are catching this on replay, make sure you say hi so we can come back and say hi to you as well, because we like to do that. We like to come back and say hello. And whoever is watching, please let us know who you are and where you're from. So, well, we've got Courtney here today, but usually it's like we're talking to nobody. So we like to hear things back from you people, so it makes us feel better.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. So without further ado, we want to introduce our lovely guest speaker today, who is Courtney Maum. I think I'm saying that right. Good. Look at me go. Courtney is the author of 5 books, including the groundbreaking publishing guide that Vanity Fair recently named one of the top 10 best books for writers, before and after the book deal, and the memoir, The Year of the Horses, chosen by the Today Show as the best read for mental health awareness. Kind of a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Big
deal. She's a writing coach, executive director of the nonprofit learning collaborative, The Cabins, and educator. Please don't judge me, Courtney. I can read, I promise. Courtney's mission is to help people hold on to the joy of art making in a culture obsessed with turning artists into brands. That's so true. Don't giggle. It's not going to help. I mean, it had more of a musical piece to it on that side of things. She's also the proud owner of a rescue racehorse named, help me. Thank you.
Ooh.
That's you said it way prettier than whatever was going to come out of my mouth right there. You can tell today it's going well. And you can sign up for her publishing tips, newsletter, and online masterclasses at CourtneyMaum.com. The Year of the Horses, just before we get to Courtney as well, we just want to give you a little bit of a teaser on what that's all about so you have an idea of some of the stuff that we're talking about. At nearly 40 years of age, writer Courtney Maum has tried just about everything to cure her chronic insomnia and the depression that comes with it. As a last-ditch effort to save herself and her crumbling marriage, Courtney schedules a riding lesson even though she hasn't been near a horse in over 30 years. Heartfelt and uplifting, in addition to being the best memoir pick from Amazon, Vanity Fair, Good Morning America, and elsewhere, The Year of the Horses was chosen by the Today Show as a top read for Mental Health Awareness Month. Learn more about the memoir and other writings at CourtneyMaum.com.
And you know,
let's
absolutely.
There she is.
There we are. And you know, beautiful Courtney, she found us on TikTok and she messaged us to say, hey, can I send you a book? And we're like, well, okay. we'll think about it. And we'll get back in a few weeks. It's like, oh my goodness, look at the kindness. Oh. And even offering us this incredible book, which is, again, it's just beautiful to touch, hold, and read and be a part of this lovely story. I love it.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And thank you, most importantly, for everything you do for humans using horses, because we certainly need, I don't know, whatever a lot of people are trying, in the world, whether it's retinol or meditation or whatever, we need a little bit more. It's not working enough, we got some rough times, especially in my country, America. So, I'm just, this is, speaking of connections, like a really great connection for me. So thank you for having me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
We're thrilled to have you. And, you've got quite the reputation here for your writing.
I'd say, could I have your autograph? I actually already do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My terrible handwriting.
We're big deals about it.
Yeah. Because we know Courtney.
That's exactly right. So you've written quite a bit. This is your fifth, right? Fifth book.
It's my fifth book, but my first memoir.
Yeah. So what kind of brought about the memoir came now?
Well, let's see, two-part answer, I guess. First of all, I think I finally reached an age where I had enough life experience to say something. I mean, there are some very young people that come out with memoirs, and I'm not knocking them. Some of them are great, but this is a book about motherhood and matrimony struggles. And it helps to be married for a while and have had a child to write about those things. And also, one of the reasons it's my fifth book is that I've tried avoiding writing a memoir for a very long time. I'm not, a huge fan of putting family secrets out there, hurting people's feelings, stirring up the manure, if you will, right? I mean, I'm not out there to hurt people, but I really did reach a point in my life where I thought, I think I have some things to say based on past experiences that could help other people. And that feels like a priority to me right now. So, I went for it, but I went for it with some sensitivity. I showed the book to my whole family, to everyone who's in the book, almost a year out, which allowed me as an author to have time to make adjustments, bring in some of their feedback, or at least talk through things. So, it's not an easy or soft thing having a memoir out in the world if you're going to do it right, if you're going to be brave and courageous and real and honest, which is what I try to do in my work, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So I didn't want to come out the gate with a memoir, nor was I ready. I don't know. I don't think I would have had very interesting things to say.
Well, in the process of, being an author and the other books you've written, the process had to be quite a bit different because it's dig into a different place, I would imagine, when you're going to a memoir side of things.
I mean, this is a really interesting question. I the writing part is not too terribly different. I mean, in the beginning, it feels a little easier because in theory, you're not making anything up. Something that's quite hard, I think, in fiction. It depends on the kind of fiction you write, but I try to write fiction that will be relatively widely read, which means it needs to have a plot. And coming up with a plot that feels organic and not cheesy is actually exceptionally hard. Now, and mostly it's hard because you're making everything up so you can go in any direction you want, right? If you imagine a jump course where you're not told which jumps you have to jump and it's just sort of left up to you, that can be harder than someone telling you have to do this thing. So at least with exactly. So at least with memoir, you lived the experiences, so you know what the content is, and the real challenge comes on structuring the content. Are you going to write it chronologically? Are you going to go back and forth in time? All those things are craft questions, that I knew how to deal with after publishing for quite a while. It's the publication and post-publication stuff that's really hard with memoir. That's harder than fiction because it is based on truth. And a lot of the questions that you're going to be asked while you're doing the promotion for the book might involve other people who do not want you talking about them. My family, unfortunately, they're very private. So if the writing and publication of the book wasn't hard enough for them,
promotion,
knowing that I'm out there doing interviews or it's being discussed on the Today Show, that was doubly hard for them. And I can assure you that as glitzy and exciting and as much of a privilege as it is to be sent on tour by your publisher, it doesn't feel super great to be doing an interview and knowing like you might get a nasty text about it.
Yeah.
So that's hard. That thing, people always say, oh, you're so brave, you're putting yourself out there. But it's probably harder I always say it's harder for my husband, it's harder for my family, because this isn't his profession. He didn't ask for me to write this. So, we weathered it together and we weathered it as a family. But I think that they will be very happy if I don't write another memoir for another 4 books. Yeah. So,
I mean, there's always that price for authenticity, right? Like there's a price that goes with truth. There's a price that goes with life too.
There really is. And to me, you're doing memoir right if the person who's coming off looking the worst is yourself, and because to me, a memoir is not just the author digging on all these other people. It should be an interrogation of how they were implicit in some of the bad things, or what they see as negative or challenging things that happen. I'm not talking about sexual trauma or something like that, right? Where a violence was done upon you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you had a complicated family, complicated romantic relationships, more kind of metaphysical, psychological things. But I remember asking my team, my publisher is Tin House, and a great indie publisher here in the States. And I said, am I not getting a legal review? A legal review is something that some publishers do for memoirs to make sure that there's no possibility of character defamation, meaning making sure they're not going to get sued. And I said, am I not getting a legal review? No one's contacted me about the legal review. And they said, oh, well, the only person who could sue us for defamation of character is yourself, because you're quite hard on yourself in the book. So unless you intend to sue yourself, I think we're good. So, and I thought, I'm so proud. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted.
Absolutely. Well, that would be interesting. A new thing in this world of
law. Yeah, it's called accountability. I just sue myself when I
exactly. No win, no lose.
Maybe that's a good thing to bring in. I don't know.
So in all of this, you really did go back to your childhood passion of horses, right? And of course, how we love to talk about horses.
Yes.
Having depression myself and knowing how much the horses did for me.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories about how it did move other people out of those dark spaces. So what did the horses do?
Well,
Hey,
thank you for
what did they
sharing that.
tell you? Give us it all.
They just smelled really good.
Right?
Well, thank you for sharing that, Carolyn. You know, the first thing that they did for me that no one else was doing for me is that they didn't lie. Right? And we know this. I, at that point, so I have chronic insomnia. I have struggled with insomnia since I was 7 years old. But for whatever reason, when I was 37, it became totally unmanageable, like a fire that had engulfed my life. I could not sleep, even with extremely strong medication. I just stopped sleeping. My daughter was 2. My husband and I had made a movie together. We're touring around. My first book had come out. There were a lot of good things happening on the surface, but they required an enormous amount of plate spinning to keep in motion. And my child, I think, could feel how stressed I was. And so she was crying all the time. It was just such a hard time. And I tried to incorporate more exercise into my life, less alcohol, more alcohol, all the things, acupuncture, new agey stuff, traditional medicine stuff, talk therapy. But I was finding, especially as someone who works professionally with words, that in all of these places I could control the narrative. Even in talk therapy, I was like, this is just one side of the story, right? I can tell this guy anything I want. It's like a stand-up or something. He might choose not to believe me, but it wasn't couples therapy. And also my friends weren't, like, I just felt so bad. I'd lost a lot of weight. I was such a wreck, and nobody was stopping me and saying, what's going on. So I thought that I was passing as a functioning human. But when I went back for that lesson, which I'd scheduled, I walked into, it was a barn I wasn't familiar with. So I'd never seen any of these horses. I didn't know anyone there. And pretty much without exception, every horse I passed, they were in their stalls because I think it was a cold time in the month or of the year. And without exception, every horse I passed pinned their ears,
Wow.
Yeah. And some were like, would kind of head bob. And even though it had been 3 decades since I'd been around a horse, you don't forget what that means. And I trust that your audience knows what that means, but just in case any of my people jump on here, pinning a horse, pinning their ears is a clear sign that they're uncomfortable enough. They want to flee. There's something that they're quite frightened of concerned about. And it was me. I was bringing this energy where they thought, I don't see anything, I don't hear anything, but why is she so stressed? And then it escalated. I would get on these horses and I would be, a lot of them would bolt. I got bolted, run away with quite often. And it wasn't because they were bad horses. It was because I was clenching with my legs, my jaw, my shoulders were up to here. I would not breathe. And that to me was what I needed. Actually, it was that instantaneous, totally pure feedback. Horses have no agenda, right? A friend of mine is going to think a couple times before they say, hey, you look like SHIT, or hey, you've lost a lot of weight. Like especially women to women, there's so much socialization, complicated stuff built into that. But horse they don't have all that BS to go through, right? So they're just like, oh man, you're freaking me out. You've got dark energy.
Unsafe.
Right, unsafe.
Yeah.
Make me feel unsafe. I need to run away from her. And I, even though that first lesson wasn't a triumph and the horses were telling me that something was wrong, I knew I needed them to keep mirroring that information so I could tell when I was getting better. And also I just wanted to be with them and I wanted to have positive experiences. I wanted to ride and not be bolted away with, right? So I had to get better. Whereas with the talk therapy, it's like, it was kind of the stakes for getting better in talk therapy. And I love talk therapy, big proponent, but still the stakes weren't the same. My therapist wasn't going to throw me on the ground, right? I wasn't going to get hurt by my therapist. Whereas a horse, if I didn't learn to breathe and lower my shoulders and stop clenching with my legs, I could get thrown, I could get killed, I could get paralyzed. The stakes were so high that I had to course correct instantaneously. And that was a level of therapy that I just wasn't getting anywhere. And I believe is truly unique in equine assisted learning.
100%. It's just like right in the moment, in that second of a millisecond, you have the ability to keep that horse safe by just making that adjustment yourself. In turn, learning it when you are away from the horse. Like that's why it's so brilliant. It's just not in the arena. It's
totally.
And the honesty part of it, you can't, like a therapist can talk to you and say, well, what do you think about that? And you can come back with the answer that you think they want to hear.
Yeah. Or that or the answer you want to give, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, when people go to see a doctor and they say, okay, well, do you take any drugs? No. What about alcohol? And you're like, oh, a glass of wine now and then, and meanwhile you're like, half a bottle a night, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
You can horse lie. No, you can't lie to a horse.
No.
And they don't lie to you. It's a very, sometimes you want them to.
But they don't.
Whether you want it or not.
It's so true.
I love that you mentioned in there about the dynamic of women too, because you're right. Women have this dynamic that we're phenomenal, amazing creatures, but we do have this piece of supporting each other in a very you look great today way rather than wow, what happened to your face?
You're really looking rough there, Charles.
Right, you're looking rough. Right, or someone
good for you.
Right, or someone's like, oh, I want to make my future sister-in-law my maid of honor, and you're like, oh, I love that for you. That's a great. We do, I think, tend to think of prioritize short-term support over long-term support in the form of truth, which I've stopped doing, frankly. I was never great at that, but I just don't think it's serving anyone. So
no, it's 100% true. But you did, you mentioned about the women and horses as well in your book, and women and horses. Maybe that's part of it because we interact so many different ways with other people, but with horses, there's that authenticity piece. But what is that? Like you hear it everywhere. Women and horses, they just go together. But why? What do you think that is?
They do really, because even in our certification course and our global family, really 95% of it is women and 5%, and God bless them, men.
Yeah.
But there is mainly the 95% that is women.
Gosh, every person's going to have different responses. I had a really interesting book event with another wonderful writer and rider, Sarah Maslin-Nier, and we argued a little bit because she was like, I do think it's the Freudian thing. I do think that women, want to get on a big horse and have a horse between their legs, which is something I disagree with.
I don't think that has anything.
But I love Sarah. I love Sarah very, very much. And of course, it was in a different context, but sure, there is the freedom element. It feels amazing, to go galloping around. But first of all, I think it's hard for women, especially if they're mothers or caretakers, if they have dependents of any form, to have someone just listen to them without wanting something in return. Or just be there for them without wanting something in return. Even like you'll go out for dinner with a girlfriend and, maybe you get your 15 minutes to tell your beef and then they get their 50. There is a little bit of quid pro quo where, a horse, like, I'm not saying they're waiting for you to go talk to them or even ride them or whatever, but they will just be there for you, just the presence of their bodies. They'll just sort of sit and eat their grass and, they're not saying, okay, I'll only be here for you if you're then going to give me a carrot. I don't know. It's just this, they're just sort of there and they're not, the horses are not demanding anything in return.
No.
And also I think, again, this is the female socialization thing. we have to talk so much.
Mhm.
God, there's
Wow.
so much talking in my life, especially my life, because I'm, a professional writer. It's words, 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 words. And people need things from women, and they need to hear things from women, and they need us to print out forms that the kids have, whatever the hell it is. And the horses don't need words. I mean, you can use some words, but they need your breath, they need your relaxation, they need your presence, they need maybe you for pay to board. So maybe they need some money, but let's not be too naive. But I mean, it's really one of the only relationships I have in my life with my horses that's slightly, I don't want to say even, because that's not the right description, but it's fair and equal, I guess. And I don't know, they don't need things from me. And I love that. That's very freeing to me.
Right? We have to take on so many roles. You're not just you most of the time. You're a mom, or your wife, or your caretaker, or you're this, or you're that. When you go out with a horse, you're just you. They couldn't care less what other role you have, or if you're the CEO, if you're the janitor, they don't care.
Right. And they don't point out your disappointments. I mean, if my discipline is arena polo, if we're on a losing team, like, I'll feel bad about it. My teammates will feel bad about it. The horses, they just want their hay, they just want their grain and their warm little blankets, right? That's another thing in my life that I don't have. If I'm going to publish a book, well, my agent and my publisher and my editor and my publicist, they all have skin in the game. They're not going to say it's my fault if it doesn't do well, but they'll be disappointed. And that's a psychological weight that stays with me, other people's disappointments. My daughter, she wants to go to this ludicrous thing on Friday night that would have me in a cafeteria at like 8 p.m. playing bingo. And we're not going, and that disappointment is going to reverberate through the entire weekend where I have her alone. My husband's out of town, and it's fine. I'm not going to die from it, but that's annoying, right? Whereas horses, I don't know, maybe you bonk them in the head by accident. I don't know. They're not holding grudges.
No.
And I think that women and horses, that there's something to that too, the not holding of grudges. And so every time you're meeting, you can more or less start fresh. And that's a total impossibility in the human world, regardless of your gender, professionally, with friends, online, with cancel culture. You can't really start fresh. There's just these digital footprints now of everything. And that's clearly, I'm thinking through this as we're talking. That's the other thing. My horses don't follow me on social media. And I love that for them. And I love that for myself, because again, I can come to the proverbial table with them and we're just starting fresh. They're not like, oh, that was a really embarrassing video that you tried on Reels yesterday, right? It's just beautiful.
It's brilliant how they share and save that space for us. Like even listening piece, they're just there. And what we definitely, as women, we just need to be heard. And that's with or without words. It doesn't matter. Just being there does that. But oh shoot, what was my profound thing that I was just going to say? I love when my brain works like this. At least a horse doesn't work like this.
We're starting to think of horse. No, and then of course there's just, I mean, they're magnificent. Is there a more beautiful creature? I mean, it's crazy that these 1,200-pound animals will just let us pick their feet and braid their manes and jump around. I mean, it's nuts that for people who do ride the horses that they even tolerate that. It's really a miracle every day, every chance I have to be around a horse. I just think this is nuts, because the silly fencing we put up, they could jump over it. When we're on their back, they could toss us off. Sometimes they do. They could bite us, they could kick us, they could kill us. And most of the time they don't. No. And that just, to me, it's sort of like flying in an airplane, which I will never, ever take for granted. I think it's totally bonkers that you can fly around in the sky and like have ginger ale.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah. And horses to me are the same. I just, whenever I'm on one, I'm like, oh, look at this. This is crazy. Look at this.
Well, for being a prey animal, that's why it's so exciting. I mean, what other prey animals let humans who are so confusing because we have intuitive and we have this brain, which is great. But at the same time, our brain kind of wrecks us.
Yeah.
Because we live more in this space versus our intuitive space, which horses help us again to live in a moment. You're only truly living in a moment when you're in the presence of a horse because you have to be safe. So it makes you be present, which is the ultimate gift on this earth, being in the presence of them, because you're getting a clean slate. You get a break from your brain.
Totally. It's like a brainwash. When like today I can't make it to the barn, and I feel it's like I need that colonoscopy, that like that like to be born anew. It really is a religion for me. And when I don't get to go to the barn, I'm intolerable.
Yeah. And I loved in your book, you referred to the heart mouth piece about the heart with the 5 times bigger. Even the way you said it, that's exactly how we tell our people every single time they come in to work with the horses, because their heart field is phenomenal, and how far it can go just by being in the presence of them. So it makes
and you alluded to this a bit earlier, but what I really enjoy is that this isn't something for me that's living in a vacuum. The skills, the kind of life skills that I've gained from horses, I've really been able to take back to my teaching work, especially. I've started consulting with writers and published authors who, need help with something. And sometimes it's accountability, sometimes it'll be a problem on the page. But I really find that even if I'm not in the same room with them, the horses have sort of taught me how to hold energy and help manage other people's stress. Absolutely. I'm a pretty high wired person, but they've really helped me slow down, breathe slower, think a little bit more before I speak. I wasn't like that before I went back to riding. I would speak too quickly. I would talk over people and interrupt them all the time. I just had a real lack of sensitivity to the way my energy was shaping other people's energy in a room. And now I'm very, very cautious and careful and aware of that. And then other people's energy too. Right? Maybe there's some people that pin my ears.
Yeah. Can I pin my ears?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should just start a trend of that. Anytime someone's no.
Right.
I say no. Back up.
Yeah, is it an emoji? Is it an emoji? I don't know.
That would be a great one.
Should be.
Pinned ear emojis, yeah.
Yeah, we've got lovely Penny on here as well. Thank you for this, she says. And then Heidi, she says, I can relate to everything you're saying. I'm not going to read anymore, obviously. There was something else in the book that I wanted to just touch on because we thought it was very cool. Is you had a very specific definition of joy in the book.
What was it?
I said specific. I didn't do the page number.
Joy. I mean, what did I say? Joy.
This girl thing, right? That it's not about the material piece. It's not about all the extras that we can gain in life, but
oh God, yeah. I mean, joy. I mean, what a perfect time to talk about joy. My daughter, she still believes in Santa Claus. And so, yes, or at least she's pretending to, so she could get more gifts. But, so she's making this list, right? But she actually, I think she knows she has everything. Like other years, it was a lot more easy, and she would write these long lists. But now she really has, she has everything, she needs. And so I'm watching her kind of labor to find things. And of course, she's not at an age, right, where she's going to be like, you know what, Mom? I don't need anything. I'm just so happy to have a roof over my head and food on it. She's not going to say that. So, but definitely this is a season when I think about what joy is. And it is, I think it starts here, right? You have to be happy in your own body first. If you're living with chronic pain, that it's hard to be joyful if you have a chronic illness, debilitating cancer. You'll find ways to find joy, but it's not easy. So if you have your health, right, that's big. If you have your mental health, that's big. And then after that, if you're lucky enough to be able to surround yourself with people whose company you truly enjoy, that's pretty major.
Yeah.
The basic kind of food, shelter, companionship piece is a little bit overlooked these days, where we're all about this kind of thing and keeping up with the Joneses and I don't know, driving whatever the new Tesla or Bronco is or what have you. And we say that we take time around, again, here where I live, Thanksgiving or Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever it is. But then, of course, because we live in a capitalist society, there's always these purchasing pieces built in. What's the size of your turkey? Oh, what are you going to ask for Christmas? What did you get every day of Hanukkah? Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's fine. But, should it be, how long did you linger at the holiday table? How long did you guys stay around and talk? Like, what if that was the metric, instead of what did you get in your stocking?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Oh, Courtney, you're so one of us.
Yeah.
So lovely. Yeah. We should tell everybody about how they can get this too. Oh, yeah. The one great thing that I have really enjoyed, my husband has also read this book.
Oh, thank you.
My husband is an avid reader, and he can get through like a 400-page book in like a half a day. Like, I don't get that. It takes me weeks, but that's okay. We have a different way of doing it. But I always love a book that not only when I see it on the coffee table, it kind of is like, oh, can't wait to pick it up. So that always excites me, because then I always want to have my favorite drink to go along with it. But I love a book that gives me words that I have to look up. Oh, there's something profound about, what the heck is this new little fangled word that I don't recall hearing in my lifetime? And there has been a couple.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they?
Do you remember any of them?
Down.
Oh,
I didn't mark them down. But the one was really exciting. Well, maybe as I'm reading through, maybe you say it a couple times. I don't know, but it has been exciting, because then you're also learning at the same time. Because I'm like, oh, I like the way that it's worded.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that about the educational piece, because that's something that I'm very big on in memoir specifically is, you're not, however many pages this is, you're not just reading about like Courtney learning to ride. It's a larger historical exploration of the relationship between women and horses, and then the patriarchy's attempt to tame both parties in the past, starting hundreds of years ago. I look at, there's lots of historical tidbits, like the invention of the side saddle, which was invented to keep women's hymens intact so that they preserved their virginity when they were being brought across different countries, presented to their princes. Yeah. Yeah, things like that. And then because in this book I learned how to play polo, there's a lot of exploration into how women were barred from the sport up until pretty recently. Really, the USPA has made strides, but I think it was only 1976 that women's polo was even recognized. Don't quote me on that, but I get it right in the book. I just can't remember the exact date, but it was really recent. You had Sunny Hale back in the day painting a mustache on her face with mascara and binding her breasts, and or her mother, sorry, not Sunny. And it really wasn't that long ago. And when women started playing polo, they had them play with little boater hats and like effectively ball gowns, and they had to play side saddle, if you can imagine. I mean, this is
doesn't even seem logistically.
Well, I think of the poor horse's back, right? You have someone in side saddle who already is relegated to being on one side of the. I mean, it's just a shit show, if I can say so. Yes. But so the book, has a nice ratio, I think. But of course, I'm biased, of my story, and then we kind of zoom out and learn about other people's stories, everything from Delphina Blacquier, Nacho Figueres' wife, her skincare routine and and how she rides bareback, and like funny kind of Instagram influencer digs to, you know, the suffragette movement and what it had to do with horses and all kinds of things like that. So there's some historical perspective in the book, I think, or I tried.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no,
amazing.
it's very, very, very nice.
But for the for people who are even mildly curious, there's if you go to the website Bishop and Wild, so there we go, Bishop and then Wild, and Wild with an E. And if you select the hardcover edition, which is the one we've been holding up, we're doing a 50% off sale all December, and 50% off doesn't happen all the time. But yeah, I hope people will take advantage of it, because I love, you know, communicating with readers and just staying in touch with people, especially the ones who get the horse piece or don't get the horse piece is even better, because I've had quite a few people write me and say, like, I think I'm going to schedule a riding lesson. I'm sort of intrigued, or, you know, where can I do this equine assisted learning thing? And I think, well, I don't know. I'm really proud of that.
Oh, I love
That's amazing.
That. Courtney, how long is this sale on for?
To the end.
All of December.
Oh, fantastic! Because I was just.
But you know, while supplies last, I mean, that's funny language, but I guess better for, like, you know, go buy it, because I mean, I don't know, when the hardcovers run out, they won't reprint hardcovers, because we have a paperback that exists, which you can also get. The paperback is great. But, you know, hardcovers, I think, make nice gifts. And then on the little image you shared, I have my email. And if people want, you can write me, just show me the proof of purchase or whatever. And then we'll be in touch, and I can send a personalized book plate for if you want to give it to someone as a gift. And what a book plate is it's like, you know, a large, attractive sticker. It's like a holiday, but neutral holiday sticker that I'll customize something on it, and then your recipient can paste it into the book. And I'll also write them a holiday card. You know, we can put a whole package together if you'd like. And if the gift is for yourself, I'll send you a holiday card. You just have to contact me via that email you guys showed, because the Bishop and Wild, the book comes under a separate cover. They're on the other side of the country in Portland, Oregon, and I'm in Connecticut. So the book will come from one place, and then if you want the extra holiday pieces, that'll come from me.
So if you are interested in that, just so we can make it a little bit easier on everyone, because I'm sure you didn't get a chance to write that down before, type Courtney into the comments, and then I will send you a copy of that image. So it's the email address and the website and everywhere that you need to go to get the book.
And we're going to be doing a Christmas giveaway, but of course, December is going to be the month of Christmas, because we love the feeling and Santa for Christmas.
I love Santa. I still believe in Santa.
We will totally always keep bringing your book in as well every time, because we're going to be doing a live every day as well. And that will just be for the added bonus of all who are joining, that they can get this 50% off. But people, I want you to understand, this is no stocking stuffer. This is an actual, this is the gift. This is the gift that, you know, gifts, as you were just talking about, all the dust collectors and all that stuff we have. Like, so much stuff. Again, it's so useless in so many ways, where sitting down and those memories and connection, this is life. This is a connection piece. That's why this is a special gift, because it doesn't have to be $1,000. Like, I don't even know what the price is, but it's what you feel in that connection. And that's what we need to keep bringing back into our society, is connection, not
connection. Totally. Thank you for saying that. And then also honesty. You know, we're lucky. It's weird to associate the term lucky with the pandemic, but as someone who struggled with mental health, I'm actually so relieved to see that the pandemic really is helping to normalize just admitting that we're not doing well, or saying, like, actually, I'm struggling with my mental health. That has, I remember when I like came out as a depressed person, you know, and whatever it was, but that's how it felt like. Like, I remember crying. I went on a walk with a dear friend and I cried. I just felt such shame. And she cried too. and she I think felt ashamed to hear it, or ashamed she hadn't seen it, or whatever the hell it was. But now it's very frequent that I'm in conversations with people and they say, I'm really struggling with my mental, or, they'll talk openly about therapy. And I think that is really great. And so something else I would hope that could come from my book is that people read it, whether they're parents or single or, whatever it is, that they think, oh gosh, I never thought I could admit that motherhood is not exactly what I pictured, or it's not bringing me joy every day. And, oh, it's really nice to hear someone else admit this, or gosh,
Right.
I thought I was the only one who had panic around.
Yeah.
It's so magical. No, it's not. It's not. It hurts.
Especially if you're a writer, they become a little bit of a thing. But men, I've actually been surprised. I mean, I thought, God, I don't know if any men will read this book, especially, there's a horse on the cover, there's a horse in the title. Like, I'm really shooting myself in the foot sales wise. But I've been astonished, like quite a few men, and older men too, not just kind of young, hip, Gen Z men. Older men have just really, I don't know, they've been very moving in their comments to me. I had one really nice interaction when I was on book tour with a pro golfer. This was in Tennessee. And this pro golfer came up and he said, I don't give a hoot about horses, but I'm a pro golfer. And when my passion became my career and how I make money, it took all the passion out of it for me. And reading your book, where in the book I'm making the similar argument that when my passion of writing became the way I made my money, it started to toxify my relationship to my art a little bit. Whereas writing with an R, no one's going to pay me to do it. I'm not going to become a professional. I'm nowhere near good enough. And so it's just a joy, right? It's just a simple amateur pleasure. And he said, reading your book really inspired me to go back to BMX biking, which was something I love to do, but I was kind of terrible at. And I'm so excited to go home now and be terrible at it again. And I love it. I love the celebration of amateur hour. It's just really, because we're in such a culture of professionalization. And, if you're going to do TikTok videos, they have to be great and well lit. And if you're going to have skin on skin, your face needs to look great. Otherwise, don't show, everything has to be perfect and branded and professionalized. And if you're going to be a hot mess, you need to be the hottest mess. And how exhausting is that? You can't even be a mess anymore. You have to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
And so, that's something else. I hope there's a battle cry for just total amateurism and averageness.
Yeah. Everyone should just go bowling.
And the great hobby, like just the return of hobbies that, you don't need to start a YouTube channel for.
Just to be present, enjoy them, right?
So true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. Well, this
weird light I have.
Yeah, it's like
Did you see this?
Yeah, I know.
Angelic.
Yes. It was so lovely that
it's like a barcode. Wait, hold on.
Well, I know you have to.
It's gone.
Get going.
Yes, to pick up the child from school.
Pick up the child, but this was so lovely to be able
I'd love to come back anytime. This has been.
Yes.
I love Canadians. Some of my dearest friends. My literary agent is Canadian.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, but what part of Canada are they from? Because that makes a difference.
Oh, that's true.
Montreal.
No, I'm only teasing.
Yeah, sorry.
Montreal stuff. Yeah.
But love Canada, and I love everything you're doing. And it was really generous of you to host me, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to connect with your audience. And I wish you a very, very happy December. And here's hoping that 2024 we can bring even more people to the healing potential of working with horses.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I'll leave you. I brought this picture. This is Abuelita with my daughter in a frame. In a frame she made. That's her rendition of Abuelita.
That's so precious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Thank you.
Well, we will leave this up, and then as people come on as well in the future and are looking for more information, we'll make sure to share it out. Your website is courtneymaum.com, and then we'll throw this up one more time for anybody who wants to see it real quick. As you can go to Bishop and Wild with a D.
And they're an independent bookseller, which is always nice because Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more money, so you can give it to these folks.
I like that. Oh, that makes me so happy. Those are the things that make us happy.
Yeah. I mean, these people, they're working out of like a little tiny shop in Portland, Oregon, you know, trying hourly wage. Jeff Bezos makes over $1 million an hour. So yeah.
Get the little guys.
The indies.
Absolutely. Exactly. And we'll promote the heck out of you for today until the end of December.
Yes.
And thank you everyone for being here, either right now live or hopefully later. And, you know, really, this is great to spend this hour together. Thank you and be well.
Thank you so much.
Happy and healthy holidays.
You, Courtney.
Bye.
Christmas. Bye.
All right, everybody. So that is it for today. Stay tuned, though. We do have some big, exciting stuff coming up next week. That big. That exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking fantastic
and
what we're doing.
It's coming up on Monday.
Yeah, like you got to be ready. You want to be on this Facebook page every day because you're going to win. Winners are everywhere.
And we'll be putting up some posts as to how that's going to work pretty quick. So make sure that you are tuning in to check that stuff out because you're going to see a lot of us over the next 12 days. Intriguing, I think so. All right, everybody, have a great, not even week. We'll see you all on Monday. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you later. Bye.